Ergo Cycle, YouTube, right. My glasses when I turn them again. Particularly, it look like that. Nice. Wild animal in the dark. So let's get ourselves situated on our bike. Let's just adjust our resistance so it's as light as we can get. Just play with it. Feel when it's off. Just feel that point. When it's first on, just feel for it. Especially those of you on a fixed gear. So make sure you have just the tiniest amount of resistance on it rather than none. And then let's sit up like I am. Stretch a little bit. It's okay. I feel like we can do here is just let all the tension in my shoulders release. And allow my arms to fall to the side. And then thank you. So we're just going to sit up, is what I was saying, and just allow ourselves to let the arms fall to the side. And as I was saying, we could stretch a little bit if you want. It's okay. And adjust your resistance so it's at just the very lightest possible level you can get it. And keep your legs moving just nice and slowly like this. And let's let our shoulders fall away from the ears and let's let our arms just fall to the side. And I want you to let your belly to just release. Just let it release. You don't need to hold it in. And you can just breathe deeply, feeling your belly expand and come back in, expand and come back in. And after we've taken a few seconds to just do this and release all the tension in the upper body, let's come back to the handlebars. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, the microphone was plugged in. It just wasn't plugged in the last millimeter or so. Apparently. So I'm adding just a tiny bit of resistance now. Just a tiny little bit. And I'm bringing my legs up in speed. And I'm nowhere near a level of work or anything. All we're working on right now is pedaling with some smoothness and feeling the muscles engage. We want to really pay attention to that sensation of the muscles engaging. And for me, I like to think about the different parts of the pedal stroke. The quads, of course, are pushing down, but at the very bottom, we feel that transition to the back part of the pedal stroke as we move to the scraping mud feeling. And then we think about unweighting the pedal, using our hip flexor muscle to just simply take the dead weight of the leg off the pedal as we come up, so we're not fighting against our own leg weight with the other leg. So I think about that. And the result then is that we are engaging muscles through the whole circle, all the way around, or almost all the way around. All right, let's pick up our leg speed a little bit more now. Add a tiny bit of resistance again. Let's get our leg speed cadence up to around 90 RPM. If you have a computer on your bike, go ahead and use that to get your pedal speed at 90 RPM. If you don't, you can just match my pedal speed. And while we're allowing the muscles to warm up, let's quickly do a body scan together, shall we? Let's check in with how our hands are interacting with the handlebars. Are we just resting them there? Are we grabbing them? Gripping the handlebars? That's tension. That's stressful. Let's just rest our hands on the bars. And let's make sure the arms aren't locked out. They're slightly bent. And our shoulders are still away from the ears. Now let's add a little more resistance in, and let's feel like now we've entered a moderate level of work. Still at about 90 RPM. But you can feel the engagement of the muscles in the pedal stroke. And at this time it's easier to feel that scraping of the mud off the bottom of the foot. Because we have more resistance, it requires a little more engagement. And it's easier to be aware of that. So go ahead and tune into that for just the next 15-20 seconds or so. Keeping your resistance exactly the same, let's speed up our legs to maybe 95 RPM if you have a computer, or just add 5 beats per second, per minute, not per second, 5 beats per minute in your pedal speed. And that adds work to what we're doing. And now let's just go ahead and slow our legs down. Let's sit up again and just let your arms fall again to the side. Take a couple of deep breaths, maybe stretch a little bit more. Back to our handlebars, and align your legs with the rhythm of this song. And as I always say, don't even think about it. Just let your body find the rhythm. might help you to count the rhythm in your head. That's useful. We'll start to notice the breathing is picking up a little bit. I don't want you to be in the state of ouch or oh, this is so hard, but I do want you to be in that state of I can feel my heart rate coming up. I can feel my breathing picking up now. Now just add a couple beats per minute to your pedal stroke to align with this song. And as always, you can watch my legs, they'll show you the speed. Now we're at quite a high pedal speed right now. So check to see if your hips are bouncing. If they are, we start then looking at what the hands and the arms are doing. Very often, locked out arms and shoulders will lead to a little bouncing in the saddle. So relax those arms and shoulders and settle your weight onto the saddle and stitch together that circular pedal stroke. That'll keep your hips from bouncing. In 3, in 2, and 1. Let's slow our legs down, leaving the resistance right where it is. Now if you're doing what I'm doing, that gets you a little out of breath. Maybe starting to sweat, which is just what we want. Because we use just a subjective feeling in our classes, if you found that extremely challenging, take some resistance out now. If you found that a little too easy and you're not a little out of breath and maybe starting to sweat now, add just a tiny bit of resistance. And we're going to return to that. Let's come back to our handlebars now. Make sure your body's in a beautiful position, relaxed and ready. Let me count us into this. In 3, and 2, and 1. Accelerate your legs up again. Now's a really good time, if you're comfortable doing it, to just close your eyes, breathe through a relaxed belly, tune into the sensations of the muscles. Till just the last little bit of the song is gone. I can still hear it. Okay, reduce your resistance, slow your legs. Slow them down. Go ahead and drink a little bit of water, even if you're not thirsty. If you think of it, drink some water. Let's align our legs to this rhythm as we have really light resistance on right now. Let's just practice this. aligning body to the beat. Okay, you got it? Coming up, let's visualize a few block long hill, but it's not super steep. So it's kind of, a gradual hill, but one you definitely feel at the start of it as we transition from flat road to that hill. We're going to stay at this rhythm, and you simply add resistance till it feels like we've encountered that hill. And you'll notice that I moved my hands to the middle. This is just totally unconscious of me. Anytime I'm climbing a hill on my bike, I tend to get my hands right to the middle here. And the reason is because it gets my back to be more upright. And with my back more upright, I'm more able to use my hips and glutes in the push over the top of the pedal stroke. So I want you to pay attention to that right here. Hips are independent of the upper body, decoupled. Now for the next minute or so, I want us to make this hill even steeper. We're going to make it to the point where we're really struggling to turn the pedals. We'll add resistance till we get to that point. Start right now. Struggling to turn the pedals. If I paid you $1,000, this would be something that you could keep up for maybe, 5 to 10 minutes. That's the feeling we're going for. Deep breath coming from a relaxed belly, shoulders stay away from the ears. Hips driving you over the top part of the pedal stroke. Reduce your resistance, come on down to light resistance. Just like when we started today, at the lightest resistance you can get. And let's bring our legs to 90 RPM and just kind of spin out that discomfort from that hill climbing. And take a look at what your breath is doing here. Pay attention to breathing right now. And just put it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being completely at ease and relaxed, 10 being completely out of breath, can't speak a word. Just put a number to it. For me, that got me up, 5, 6, somewhere in that range. If we had held that longer, my breath would have kept creeping up to 7 or 8 or even 9. That was a hard effort. So at this moment, we're spinning the legs out, light resistance 90 RPM. And I love that feeling of coming from heavy, slow climbing to smooth, supple, flat road with light resistance. So for the next few seconds, we're going to simply work on being aware of our pedal stroke. All the different parts of it. And seeing how smoothly we can do it. And smoothness will be shown if your hips are stable. Smoothness will be shown if your upper body is relaxed. One of the tricks I used to use is, imagine you're holding a champagne glass filled with champagne or water. Could you pedal like this without spilling it? It's a great test. At this point, your breath has slowed from when we were doing the hill, but it has not come back to where it was at the start of today's class when we were just warming up. We feel warm, alive, engaged. Now I sat up to allow my legs to find this rhythm. You got it? All right, come on down to your handlebars. We're going to make this an extremely steep hill. Turn that resistance till it feels like something that you're just struggling with. Just struggling. And get all those muscles engaged now. And then we're going to stand up out of the saddle. Those of you familiar with our classes know that we crank the resistance before we stand. We get it to the point where we can't pedal seated anymore or very close to that. So if that's new to you, practice doing it, but that's how you get in shape on a bike. That's why we stand on a bike, because a steep hill has become so steep, or we've shifted to a gear on the flat road that's just too hard to pedal seated. That's the feeling. All right, let me count you into it. In 3, 2, 1. Crank your resistance, hold the rhythm, and rise into this, out of the saddle. If you're doing this right, you're nice and tall, and you feel your weight shifting through the glutes at the top of the pedal stroke. Come back to seated, keep the climb in. Dial it back to light resistance now. So let's check in with our breathing. Unfortunately, I can't help but have you hear mine. I'm just noticing my heart rate and my breathing. I got up to about a 7 or so after that standing climb. In terms of out of breathness, 0 to 10, 1 to 10 on the scale. You see my legs have already found this rhythm. Return to the handlebars with me. Add a moderate amount of resistance that feels again like we're on a moderate shallow hill, not the steep one we were on, but just a moderate one. And see if you can visualize that in front of you right now. Just kind of a rise. Feels comfortable to you, you can close your eyes right now. And together we'll do a quick body scan. Starting this time with our shoulders. See if you can wiggle them a little bit to get the tension out of them. Make sure they're nice and far away from the ear. And this time I want you to check in with your neck and then the rest of the spine. This should feel like your neck and your spine are nicely aligned without any arching one way or the other. And your belly is relaxed, allowing you to pull that air in deep from the belly. Let's check with our breathing. This kind of effort right now should start the breath climbing again. It's just moderately uncomfortable, not super uncomfortable. You're not struggling to hold this rhythm. Now, when I give you the signal, we're going to accelerate the legs above the rhythm, leaving the resistance exactly the same. In 3, 2, and 1. Accelerate by about 5 or so. If you have a computer on your bike, use that to determine. Now I want you to notice the increase in effort that comes from just this slight acceleration, even in a moderate hill. Now we're going to add another 5 to it. If you're struggling to turn the pedals out, take resistance out. If you find this easy, add some resistance. In 3, in 2, and 1. Add another 5 RPM. I'm starting to find this challenging. My breath is definitely picking up right now. Maybe more importantly, I'm starting to have mental resistance to the effort. Which means I'm challenging myself, and this is good. Now when I tell you, I want you to turn your legs as quickly as you can, as if you're sprinting your bike. We'll only do it for about 5 to 7 seconds. I want you to keep your hands relaxed on the bars, your shoulders relaxed, everything's calm in the upper body. In 3, and 2, And 1. Accelerate your legs like you're sprinting. And slow your legs and reduce your resistance. And I've just allowed my legs to come back to the rhythm where we started. I'm noticing my breathing. And I can feel my heart pounding in my chest from that last effort. So check in with yourself. So we haven't stood up in a while, and if your sit bones hurt or you're uncomfortable, you're totally welcome. Just stand up for a second. Take some pressure off the sit bones and stretch the calves. That's acceptable at any point in a class. I do it when I'm riding my bike outside all the time. So we have a little meditative piece now, where I'm not going to say much. I'll get you to a level of output or effort, and then we'll just be. And I want you to notice what happens in your head. It'll start grasping at things, future and past. And every time that happens, I want you to just notice it, label it, thinking, and come back to the rhythm and the movement and the muscles and the breath and the music. Your legs to the rhythm. Now put on a resistance that you think you could hold for 10 minutes. I want to remind you to always check in with the upper body, always tune into the muscles. Let's take a minute and a half to 2 minutes right now to just be with this music, this rhythm, this effort. Do you notice that your mind is just grasping for all kinds of things? Mine was. I would just notice it and say, oh, there I am thinking again. Come back to the body, to the breath, to the rhythm. You ready to stand with me? Remember what to do. Add heavy resistance before you stand. Come out onto the pedals. Keep the hands relatively light on the bars. Your weight is driving into the pedals. That's why we're standing. In 3, 2, 1. Crank the resistance, staying with the rhythm, rise. come back to that lighter resistance, but still in a gradual hill. We're going to rise up again. In 3, 2, 1, add heavy resistance. Rise up. Now come down to the lesser resistance, still in a gradual hill. Now dial it all the way back to light resistance. Put your breathing on a scale of 1 to 10. This is all about just getting to know ourselves, right? That's why I have you do that. By paying attention to our breathing, we're paying attention to our heart rate. By paying attention to our heart rate, we're noticing how hard we're working. We're getting to know ourselves, what our bodies are capable of, what we can do. All right, you ready for one all-out seated sprint? Of about 20 seconds in length. While you're drinking your water, gathering your breath, let me remind you that a sprint is an effort that you do not think you could hold longer than 40-45 seconds. Your legs will give out after 40-45 seconds. That's what a sprint is on a bike. That's what a sprint is in sprinting on the track and sprinting and swimming. A sprint by definition is that kind of all-out effort that you couldn't hold for 45 seconds to a minute. Otherwise, it's not a sprint. Are you ready to do one? Yes, there'll be fast leg speed here. That's part of a sprint, but also heavy resistance. Don't let your leg speed get above 105 or so. Keep it to 100 to 105 and adjust the resistance accordingly. Let's get ready. Body scan, checking our position, settling into the saddle. In 3, 2, 1. Accelerate your legs, add the resistance. Couldn't do this for 45 seconds. All right, dial your resistance back. There's no way I could have held that another 30 seconds. So I'm sitting up. You're welcome to do this. I have my hands on my hips. This is universal human posture of I'm out of breath. Across all cultures, across time, hands on the hips like this is out of breath. So we're going to start to cool our bodies down now. So you see I have very slow pedal speed. My resistance is very light. I'm allowing my breath and my heart rate to slow. Beautiful ride today. Just every now and then, assign a number on that out of breathness scale to your breath, just so we are aware of the breath slowing. If your breath is still high or your legs are super tired still, take some resistance out and slow your legs even more. Very important that we allow our bodies to cool down now. Now I'm going to sit up again. And I'm just going to let my legs come to a stop. And after they come to a stop, I love to sit here and just tune in to my breathing and how my body feels. I'm just paying attention to the sensations of the muscles right now, and the feeling of my heart in my chest, noticing how my breath is doing. I'm also noticing that I'm much more calm and my stress levels are down from the starter class, and it's so important to pay attention to these things. All right. Let's stretch our calves. Come on up. 3 and 9 o'clock with the feet. And just drop your heels. Oh, feels so good. When we've been pedaling 43, 45 minutes. Feels good to just stretch those calves. Let's switch. And then again, drop your calves and just feel that stretch. Now let's swing a leg over the bike. And standing next to our bike, let's pull back on one of our ankles and feel that stretch in the quadriceps. And now switching to the other leg. Feel that stretch. Let's stretch our hamstrings now. I'm going to set my ankle on the top bar of the bike, but you are absolutely welcome to use the handlebars or the saddle if that's better for you. And now let's move to the other leg. Just holding the stretch. Breathing from a relaxed belly. I'll leave the music going for a couple minutes. Please take your time, stretch some more, drink your water, enjoy the music. We'll see you next time. Make sure to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and set notifications. We'll see you next time.